I was sitting on the floor with all four of my dogs. They were all pawing me, and it occurred to me that it might be easy to teach Lupe how to scratch my back for me. I had been taking videos and producing videos all day, and I was still in a video taking mood, so I decided to video myself training Lupe how to scratch my back. When I got the idea, it was close to getting dark, so that was my first mistake. I knew that I only had a little bit of time to do this, so I started off in a rush. Now, one thing I did do correctly was, since I was teaching a new behavior, I separated Lupe from the pack. But because I was in such a hurry to get her outside and get the camera set up, I didn't pack enough tasty treats. Whenever you're teaching a new behavior, you want some very tasty treats, and you want to make sure you have plenty handy so you can implement a higher rate of reinforcement. I happen to have a few good chicken treats in my pack, but also had a lot of kibble. So it was taking too long for me to separate the good food from the kibble in order to reward Lupe fast enough and often enough. My other mistake was assuming this would be simple for her because she does a lot of pawing by request already. If I point to my leg or point to an object, she will paw it. So I just thought I could just point to my back and she would paw my back. What I forgot to consider though was context. Even though she can paw a lot of different things on command, she's always looking directly at me or I'm looking directly at her. Asking her to go behind my back and paw or scratch my back was a completely different context for her. When I realized she wasn't going to paw or scratch my back just by me pointing at it, I tried luring her with a treat around the back. And that's a little bit of a shortcut. There's nothing wrong with luring. It's much better than physical manipulation. But shaping the behavior in slower increments would have been much better. I finally realized that probably the best way to do it is to start by asking her to paw me from the front, and then I could slowly turn around in small increments. And even though I did do that, I probably still turned around too quickly because I was trying to get the film done before it got dark. So what actually happened was I had a dog who was confused, and you might see some signals that show she's confused on the video. She stops to scratch a couple of times, and it could have been that she actually had an itch, or it could have been that she was a little bit stressed because she didn't know what I wanted. Now, something that I did do correctly, when I couldn't get her, or when I wasn't able to get her to scratch my back, I didn't blame the dog. A lot of times what we do when we're trying to teach a new behavior to a dog, if a dog gets confused and offers the wrong behavior, we say or we tell them no, or some people even yank or shock their dogs for not following commands. But what some people don't understand is sometimes the dog just doesn't understand what we want yet. And by saying or punishing the dog in some type of way, we're actually putting the responsibility on the learner instead of the teacher. If our dog doesn't understand, we need to back up and take a look at why they don't understand. Were there too many distractions? Did we raise the criteria too quickly? Were we confusing? Did we use a hand signal that looks like something else? Did we use a word that sounds like something else? Did we reinforce high enough? Did we click at the wrong time? Normally when a dog doesn't comply, it's something that the teacher is doing wrong, not the dog. And one other thing that I did correctly before we ended the session, when I knew that we weren't going to get a good back scratch this day, I ended with some things that were really easy for her to do, like a high five and a shake or a paw my leg from the front. So we always end our training sessions on a good note. I don't want to walk off while I'm frustrated or she's frustrated. Something else that I choose not to use in my training is the no reward marker. Some trainers feel like this can be used non-aversively. It doesn't sound as harsh as or no. Some trainers use oops or too bad, say it in a nice tone. Basically, it lets the dog know that no reward is coming. But once again, this puts the responsibility on the learner, not the teacher. We're basically telling the dog he or she did something wrong when it's really our fault that the dog didn't comply. On her website, trainer and author Karen Pryor writes, "At first glance, the no reward marker looks like a good use of continuous feedback. However, closer examination reveals that the cold feedback is really unnecessary. She goes on to say, by the time a no reward marker has real meaning for the learner, it has become positive punishment. It may be a mild aversive or it may be severe depending on the learner's mindset, but it is a stimulus the learner is actively working to avoid. Because the trainer introduces the no reward marker upon the learner's mistake, the no reward marker is positive punishment. Pryor goes on to say that she sees no reward markers used as a crutch where the initial training was not clean and precise. So once again here, we're putting the onus on the learner and not the teacher. So don't make the same mistakes I did here. If you're going to be teaching a new behavior, make sure you have enough time to teach it properly. Make sure you have plenty of high-value treats on hand. Make sure that you don't assume how much your dog already knows. And most importantly, change the criteria slowly and in small incremental steps. And as always, watch for calming signals. If you see your dog blinking or turning her head or scratching or walking off, perhaps the training is just a little bit too stressful and it's okay to end the training. Just try to end on a positive note. See Karen Pryor's website at clickertraining.com. Also check out some of her excellent books, Don't Shoot the Dog and Reaching the Animal Mind.